We're back.
Yeah, I gotta just put a disclaimer for those who see the video of this. I have a red caterpillar on my lip, so it's a quarantine thing. Steph gave me the thumbs up, so if you like it, you like it. If you don't, shut up. So
I got a similar story to tell. My beard, I've been getting called a bunch of different names. I look like a pirate or whatever.
I like
and my girl likes it, so if you don't like it, then
sorry.
Sorry. I'm sorry about it.
I've noticed a lot of people get a Fidel Castro going, and that's kind of what you...
Yeah.
I heard he was a really good guy, though, so...
Yeah, I mean, he did some things, but, at the core, he might be good.
What else did you notice you picked up over quarantine? Because I know a lot of people probably picked up some just awesome habits that they're just going to carry on into 2021. Mine's a mustache.
So I definitely picked up a beard. We both picked up facial hair. Mm-hmm. One thing that I really have been doing, from a positive standpoint, I've been really getting into meditation. Meditation has really been a good thing that I picked up on. Also, nature walks, like going to parks and things like that, and just walking outside was really beneficial for me. Able to connect with nature and just kind of like realize like...
Can you talk to birds yet?
Yeah, not yet, but I do feel like certain animals come to you at certain points. Something that...
Are you taking acid too on these folks?
No,
Okay.
completely sober.
What type of meditations are you doing?
Just so I'm doing a lot of just reflection meditations. Something to like calm my anxieties and calm my anger and things like that. I've been doing guided meditations with like Headspace that really help. But I've also been reading a lot, which is cool. Like I'm weird. Like with my reading, like I'm not super consistent with it, but once I do it, like I go really head on in it for a while. I'll finish a book and then I'll stop and not read for a couple months. So I was doing a lot of that. I'll listen to audiobooks and things like just to keep my, my mental and my spiritual intact.
What book are you reading right now?
So I have a couple books that I'm reading. I have one that's on my Scribd app. It's like I gotta pull it up actually. I forgot what the exact title is. This is our podcast right now, so I can pull this up.
Have you opened the book? You don't even know the damn title?
Yes. So
call them out.
Treating people well, the extraordinary power of civility at work and in life. Something that is really cool. Like just for context of what this book is about, it's about two Secretary of State in the White House. Mm-hmm. One served under Bush and one served under Obama.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
And they both wrote a book on how to treat people well. And it's like, it tells like stories from inside the White House of how these people like adjusted to the cabinet that was in office. Yeah. And like what they have to do to.
Completely different cabinets.
But it's weird because they actually show how similar they are. And how similar the families and like it's really interesting, and it gives some good tips on how to.
I gotta believe like when you get to that specific level, you did something that everybody in that path has been doing. So to say like they're very different, it's probably just like one says they're Republican, the other one says they're Democrat, but outside of that, you're probably the same person.
Exactly, because it's all the same thing. It's being a good person in front of other people. Being a leader by example, doing certain things.
They try to.
So it's like
they try.
It's crazy how similar they were because like you read the beginning of the book and you hear that. Well, this one served under Obama and this one served under Bush. Yeah. And you realize like how similar they are throughout the book and like the similar.
That's interesting.
Treatment that they both had, and it was like, whoa. This is cool. And then they also like they give points of like how to be a better person, like act like everybody's watching you. That's something I do personally. I've always done that, which is weird. So like it's just like something that's like interesting to read. And another book I've been listening to an audiobook, the 50 Cent Hustle Harder book. Is really awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, a good book can go a long way.
Yeah. Picked up some other hobbies. I mean, I was playing some tennis, which is fun. You know, I was getting on my Roger Federer a little bit.
I would have never thought you played tennis.
Shout out to Mike. So then I also had this like impulsive decision one day where I was like, I really want to play baseball again. So I went.
Again? You played baseball?
A little bit, just when I was younger.
Right.
And like,
So,
I'm weird because like, I like astrology a little bit. So like,
what?
So
We're talking about baseball.
Yeah.
This guy's talking about stars.
There's a point. Miguel Cabrera has the same birthday as me. So I'm like, all right, well, maybe I should try out baseball. Like, maybe I should get back to the roots. I'm like, all right, cool. So I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, you know, picked up a Louisville Slugger. Went out to the local park here, and I grabbed some balls, tennis balls. And I was just hitting
Just tossing it up.
Yeah, and it was good. Like, I was just, like, kind of working out while I was doing it, too. Like, when I was doing it for a while, like, I would just, like, run the bases, like, after I hit, like, just to add some, like... 24 years old. Oh, 2 months ago.
David, you need to attend him when he goes on this. Otherwise, he's going to look like a crackhead.
He actually came out that day. He came out one of the days. He came out and he was pitching to me. So
this your Uncle Rico mixtape? Yeah, trying to get on the baseball team?
I was like, oh, dude, that was my goal.
Call me, bro. I'll throw it to you. Jeez.
That's funny that you said that because, like, I literally, my goal was to hit one ball that day over the fence.
It's a dinger.
Yeah. And
I think
it just kind of shows, like, the passion of, like, going to try something new and wanting to get that objective.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I was just like, I really need to hit a ball over the fence. And, I was struggling. I was, hitting the ball, trying to pitch to myself. I was swinging and missing a lot. And then I finally, like, hit a ball that went, like, deep into center field.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, wow.
Right.
I might just be able to get it over the fence. And it just gave me like a little spark, and it just made me feel good. It got my endorphins released.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I just was grateful as a takeaway from that.
It's tennis, baseball. What else?
Reading. In terms of sports, I mean, I really want to get on the basketball courts, but the only
I'll dice you up.
Yeah, like
you don't want these
get an AI crossover.
I'll dice you up.
You're like Tyler Hero in the cut.
Dude, I play basketball with one arm. I can't touch. If it goes to the left, it's gone.
It's gone. But yeah, in terms of sports, I mean, those were the only ones I was playing. And then just doing a lot of walking in parks and things like that.
Walking has been the big one. I know I started like waking up every morning, and I'll turn on my podcast and I'll just like walk brisk mile.
You turn on the Devin After Dark, right?
Of course. All right. And after this, I'm going to listen to myself and critique the way I speak. But yeah, no, that's kind of like, it's a good way for me to start my day, kind of clear the mind. Because now that there's no like initial drive to work anymore, you just wake up and flip open my computer and hit the phones. But that is like my drive. And it's honestly a little bit more relaxing. I get to, be one with nature.
Yeah. And you get to unwind, and you get to,
This is a good way to start the day.
Feel good.
It's a good way to start the day. Especially in, like, the world of sales. It's all you're doing is just getting jostled constantly, following leads that might lead to really good things and some that are dead ends, but being able to wake up on a clear mind, be like, okay, today's going to be a good day. Regardless if it's a good day, I'm going to do my best to make it a good day. And I know that you're following suit with your new sales position. So
yes, that's really what it's about, man. Is just taking the good out of some of the bad in sales.
Have to,
because it's a balance all the time. I feel like a lot of people get caught up in the bad in sales and like want to quit. And when you realize like some of the good things, like one of the best things that I know we both agree on is like just the feeling of somebody being appreciative of your services and referring you to somebody else.
Oh, 100%. That's more valuable than money.
Yeah.
Just because, yes, you were able to get your aunt to sit in front of you and you put her in a better spot than what she would have done when you first sat down with her. But to go the extra mile and to get a text message like, hey, I just shared your information with so-and-so, it's like, no shit. all right, I created some value. I didn't just twist someone's arm into doing something they didn't want to do. So, yes, sales sucks. It really, it's the most rewarding, but it's the highest highs and the lowest lows. You have to manage it like nobody's business. I'll come home some days and I'm just like staring into the abyss and stuff. Will be like, is something wrong? Did I do something? And I'm like, no, I just don't have anyone to call. And then she'll say like, okay, you know what? Like, I'll pull out my Instagram. And like those little things, like even though we might not get anywhere with it, knowing that she's able to kind of like boost my morale when I'm having a bad day. And like I'm starting to get used to the fact that like, hey, a bad week doesn't necessarily mean I'm done.
Yeah.
Like I just have to stick through it and good things will come. And especially if you're bringing value to people, which I'm pretty certain I do.
Yes, you do.
It's just a time thing.
Yes.
Thanks, brother.
You do, man. You've brought value to me for a long time. But it's funny you say that because I feel like we might be the same on this level, like where we put so much into like what we think the result might be from being, there in our sales position and like, just really taking pride in what we do.
Oh, yeah.
So like after we leave work, we might be a little bit, thinking that we may have not done enough to get the reward of that.
Yeah.
And like, that's one good thing about like being in a relationship is like your girl's there to like
lean on.
You need
a
cheerleader.
You need cheerleaders.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I shouldn't say unfortunately, some people have families to where they're like very optimistic for them, but it helps to have somebody outside of your inner circle to kind of lean on. So valuing mentors who are, because anybody can tell me, hey dude, you're gonna be okay. Like just put your just put your head down and start working hard. It's gonna work out. And be like, you don't know shit. You're telling me that's a cliche. Like I'm thankful, but like I need to talk to somebody who's like, hey, I've been in your situation.
Exactly.
Right? And this is what I did to kind of get myself out of that funk. So find a mentor who's in your situation who you can kind of lean on. Otherwise, it's going to get tough. And if you don't have a good support system, you might not last as long as you thought. So
exactly,
just stick it out.
And that's good. Like we both have mentors.
I got numerous.
I got a bunch of mentors, like all across the board that just keep me, inspired to keep doing what I'm doing. Because the main thing is like your mentor is there to believe in you and your abilities, and push you to where you're supposed to be at,
and to call you out on your bullshit,
and to hold you accountable.
Because in any business, like there's going to be days where you're just not feeling it, and you need someone to be like, hey, you suck. Like if you continue this, you're done. And those types of slaps in the face are like, okay, I needed that. And you'll get used to it. And like some days you're like, man, look at this guy. Doesn't believe in me anymore. Like he's a horrible mentor. But like that conversation of him slapping you around was meant for you to kind of like wake up.
Yeah.
I remember I had that first conversation. I was working at a hydraulics distribution center. It was a small one. And my boss, who was a real hard ass, but he was a businessman at heart. And I remember I was like 19, 20 years old, and I really I was 19, 20. Like, I'm more excited to where I'm going to be spending my weekend at, whether it's Central, State, wherever it was. And I remember I shipped out something just wrong. It was I just didn't read. And he basically like pieced me up and cussed me out and just told me, hey, what are you going to do with your life? You going to work back here the rest of your life? What do you want? I'll leave you on the payroll for this long if you're just going to be doing this amount of work for me. But he's like, is that what you want out of life? Mm-hmm. And after that, I think he like sent me home too. I like drove home and I was like, I never want to feel that helpless to the point where like I had no rebuttal. Like I couldn't say like, oh, I'm trying my best. It was just like, I'm not giving it my best. Like I did something dumb and this is what I get for it. So once you get slapped around a little bit and someone pieces you up, and not everybody deals with motivation that way. And I like the Jocko Willink and I like the David Goggins, and they're like, hey, you're a piece. You need to get your mind right. Otherwise, you're going to be a loser.
Sack up.
Yeah. Sack up. So like I need that type of abuse.
Yeah.
In order for me to get past what I'm dealing through. I don't do well with people saying it's going to be okay. Like, no, screw that. Like, I'm a loser. I need to make an adjustment to get me to a specific point where I feel comfortable.
Right.
And once you get engaged, and then like me and Steph do a lot of like foreshadowing of like, hey, this is what we want. This is what we want. And in order to get here, this is what we have to do. Mm-hmm. So it's all mapped out under my roof. So I know we're going to be able to deviate from things a little bit, but I do have a pretty clean cut path. And I don't know if you do this with your potential clients, is painting a picture for them, because a lot of people have these big aspirations, but they've never actually like talked about it and figured out like, how are you going to do this? Mm-hmm. So I don't know if you've had similar situations when you're walking people around.
Crazy. That's actually one of the big things like in the company that I have. It's like they want us to paint a picture for them.
Oh yeah.
And at first I was kind of hesitant to it because I'm like, I don't want to tell these people how they're going to live their lives.
Yeah.
But also like when you're putting value into somebody's life, or giving them something that is of benefit for them as well, you kind of have to paint a picture for them, because sometimes the perspective, like, they're not going to realize what it could be or how this could benefit them.
Yeah.
So it's it's crazy that you said that, because like literally, like when you said that, I thought about my call sheet that tells me to paint pictures. A picture with the senses of how it would be for them to be in this situation. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
And once I started doing it, I've been feeling more. I've been feeling like a more sense of appreciation.
Yeah.
Because it's an understanding.
Yeah. If you can convince yourself, and I don't even like to use the word convince, if you can understand the value that you bring to someone and get them to realize it has value as well. So like a lot of times people, they're like, I'm going to work till I retire and everything's going to be cake. It's like, okay, so you don't want anything specific along that process? Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I kind of wanted a cabin. I wanted this. Like, well, let's talk about that. Mm-hmm. You want a cabin? Like, are we going to do that? And they're like, well, I never really sat down and talked about it. Like, well, if that's what you want, does it make sense for us to have a conversation?
Right.
And for the most part, it's just a matter of like, say, me being the carrier of information, saying, hey, let's have the conversation. We have it. Everyone feels good about their situation, and I can see where it might make sense to make adjustments, whether you're spending too much today and you're going to have less tomorrow. So it all just depends. But overall, if you understand that you're bringing value to somebody, like that's where a sale is made. That's where a sale is made. It's when two people exchange value.
Exactly.
So that's the soul of that. But yeah, over quarantine, like starting in the financial, or even just starting a job in general in quarantine, it's been so ass backwards.
Oh yeah.
And I've had a lot of conversation with other advisors. They're like, hey man, you make it through this, we're going to be in good shape. So I'm like, okay, well, we're getting through this. I'm doing pretty good. I was like, maybe this is a good spot where I landed. And so far I'm pretty happy with what I've been doing. So
that's good. That's what it's all about, man. Finding the silver lining in it.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, not everybody's going to find their passion right away. Like it takes you going out there and working before you can actually find like, okay, from this job, this is what I liked out of it. And that led me to this job, and this is what I like out of it. And when you take a step back and say, okay, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, I'm good at this, what's a career where I can take this, this, and this and be successful? So college is great, but it does no good in terms of teaching people how and where they want to be in life. Like, I agree. College was honestly for me just a hurdle that I had to get over that says like, hey, I'm educated now. And I know things about college, so my licensings have more value than anything. But I mean, I got the degree, so I'm cool.
Hey, that's an accomplishment in itself.
For sure.
Getting the degree first. Like, see, that's a great point that you touched on, because like I didn't pursue that degree.
Don't need to.
I didn't end up getting a degree. I went to college right out of high school. Once we finished high school, I went to college. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I was in a predicament where I was working a lot and I was up for promotions. So I was working my ass off at Champs Sports. I worked there throughout high school, junior year to, past graduation and everything. And I was promoted to sales leader, and I learned like a lot of tricks of the trade, just how to, communicate with people, how to run business operations and the whole nine. And I realized I was like, well, maybe I may have made the right decision, like not pursuing school and just trying to get my foot in and learning how to run business and things like that. And I feel like we might have took like a similar approach with that. But you ended up going to school, which is like, I admire the hell out of that. You ended up getting your degree and everything.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like we just have a niche for like growing. Yeah. And like trying to display our passions and things. And like how you were saying, like you kind of learn along the way, like what you're really like searching to do. Your passion.
Yeah. I found more, unfortunately, in the financial planning sphere, you need a degree. So that was literally the only reason why I got it, was just because this is what you need, check the box, and then go do what you want to do. So if it was up to me, I would have never gone through it. I would have went through a bunch of financial planning courses that would further my knowledge in that sphere. But you got to go through, check the box. And like, there is value in like learning how to learn. And I think that that's what like middle school, high school, college do, is they throw things at you that you don't really want to learn. But if you're able to pick it up, you're going to be in a situation to where you're in your career and you got to figure something out that you just don't want to know, but you know how to learn things you just don't want to learn. Yes. So it has value, although I don't know. I hate the way high school's set up. I love Chippewa, but I hated it. It was such a. I went to school and I went to Chippewa, and I graduated saying I'm not going to school because I hated school so much.
Yep.
And if it wasn't for that same conversation that guy put me on blast for, I would have never have went to college and said, hey, you know what, this, in order to get to where I want to be, I need to jump this hurdle. So I love all you teachers at Chippewa, but you didn't do me no good. So
I agree with that.
That's
crazy.
Some teachers were pretty good at Chippewa, and they know I love them, but that's besides the point.
Got a couple of them,
For sure.
But like coming out of high school, we both had that same mindset. Like, I don't want to go back.
Why am I in chemistry?
Yeah.
Why am I here? This is the dumbest thing. You made me hate school.
Yeah.
Who knows? I might have loved science, but chemistry pissed me off to the point where I didn't want to go. So thank you for that.
I breezed through, man. I honestly breezed through high school, bro.
Well,
I don't know how I did it.
Your parents paid. They didn't tell you that yet? Your parents paid you to get through cut.
Hell no, bro.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Not even close. I just breezed through, man. I didn't. Honestly, looking back at it, I was struggling throughout high school, interpersonally. But what I was doing is like I was just going with the flow, and I ended up, finishing it off. And then I was like, well, why should I go back to school?
Yeah.
And I did it. I tried it, but I was in a situation with the work that I was doing at the time, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna pursue this. And I got to the point where I was like, I'm gonna move on from this too and go to this different opportunity. And I was just constantly chasing something.
It's hard to know exactly what you want to do when you're 18.
Yeah.
And they're breeding you to go to college to do something. But like, I didn't know that business was my call. I didn't know that I was going to be good at finance. I didn't know I was going to be good at accounting. School didn't offer it to me. And it wasn't something that they pushed me into as well. They pushed me into a lot of, like algebra, chemistry, physics, and stuff like that. And I don't know, I wish school did a better job of molding people into what they want to be versus molding people into college-ready kids. Yeah. Because not everybody also has the financial wherewithal to go to college, and college is so damn expensive as it is. I was able to pay my way through Macomb, but once I got to Walsh, it's $475 a credit hour. No way in hell I can't work that much to pay for that. So it was unfortunate, but I mean, student loans it's an opportunity. I mean, it's opportunity for you to go to school, but you're basically signing up at 20 years old or even younger, saying I'm going to incur a shit ton of debt to get to where I need to be, and it's a shame because it deters a lot of people who want to go to school, but they just won't want to because hey, by the way, when you graduate, you're gonna owe me like $300 to $400 a month minimum just to pay this off. So it's very scary. Mm-hmm. So you really got to know exactly, hey, this is where I'm going. This is what it's gonna pay. It's gonna be able to pay off. Like you just got to really know your shit. Long term, you don't want to just play around in college. And I feel like high school, like, yeah, go to college, you'll figure it out. F that. If you don't know what you're going into, don't go to college. It's going to be so expensive. That's the most expensive thing to figure it out. Yeah. Go work somewhere and figure out what you like in that company and figure out how you can get to that position. But don't figure it out in high school. Do yourself a favor.
Yeah, go try shit. Don't waste your money trying to find what you want to do that's going to click. And that's basically what I did. I went straight into business. I was just like, dude, I want to get a business degree in college, but like,
you don't need
college, bro. Like, I can't afford it. Like, I couldn't afford it, bro. Yeah, I really couldn't. Like the situations that were going on, I couldn't go to college. So I was like, I'm gonna just dive into business.
So here's a question for you. With that notion, do you think college should be free?
But it has to start from the upbringing to college, though. I think that college could be free. I think that would be a great incentive for people to kind of, get a degree and learn a trade, learn a skill, learn any type of, major that they want to get into. But it has to start from the previous education.
Mm-hmm. So, how do you pay for free college?
See, and that's exactly what the question is. Because how are we going to do that? Are we going to take it out of people's tax money? Or are we going to make these college institutes for nonprofit instead of profit?
Yeah.
Honestly, if I could just jump in real quick, I think if college was free, people wouldn't go.
Yeah. There would be no value.
Exactly.
There'd be no value.
It's that it holds you accountable knowing I'm putting money out of my pocket. I have to do this. Because public school is free to an extent. And people you felt that way about high school, going into college knowing that it's free, you're literally going to drop out the first week.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah, I want school to have some sort of financial value. Because I tell you what, me paying for my schooling the first 2 years up front, I got my first semester I got a C. I was like, oh hell no. Like if I'm paying for this, I need to make sure that my grades are up to snuff. When in high school, I didn't care. Get my C and get the hell out. Yeah. So there needs to be some sort of tangible value. Otherwise, people who have degrees who paid for it, it's going to be worthless. And it's also going to, when you make things like the difference between a public school and a private school. Private, you pay for it. But you're also, in a sense, in some cases, I don't know, you're getting a better education because your parents are paying for me to teach you. Your ass is going to learn. Yeah. Versus public, they just push you along if you fall behind, and then they let you out when you're 18, 19 years old, and you say, hey, figure it out. So there's a balance. I think that schools have propped up a lot of the prices to, it's like $200 to buy a book that I'll read 4 times. Right. Like, how could you do that to me? Yeah. Like, that's not cool. And a lot of people might not be in a position where they are in a job that is pretty lucrative post-graduation. I know a bunch of people who are graduating with specific degrees and they're like, dude, I still can't find a job. And I wish that someone would have had a conversation with them saying like, hey, bro, like, let's look 4 years out where you're going to work. Mm-hmm. How logical is that career and how lucrative is it for you? If it means going to state and racking up $80,000 to $100,000 worth of school debt, and then your income is only going to be 40 to 50, might not be a good idea. Like, let's talk through this. And that's not to say that those degrees don't have value, but I just feel like these children need to be like talked to, and I'll call them children because you're 18 years old. Like your brain doesn't even fully develop until you're 25. Like, I truthfully don't even think anything below 25, you shouldn't even be voting yet. Yeah. And that cuts me out. That cuts me out. That cuts us both out. And that's like, what do we know?
Yeah.
You just went through college. You never worked a day in your life. You most likely don't have a kid. What do you know about the real world that allows you to vote because you learned something in a book from a professor that, I mean, they're smart, but your job is to teach people about a book. You don't do what others do.
Right.
So, I don't know. I'm probably going to get get reamed out for talking bad about college, but I mean, it's just, I have a love-hate for it. I love the classes that provided value for me, but I don't necessarily trust everything that comes out of a college's mouth.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
It's